What's up, guys? Thank you for joining me today. This is Dr. Tom LaHue, and we are talking about type 1s and sacrificing pleasure. Oh, sacrifice! Something ones do probably way too often. We appreciate it, though. All right, so in the description below is a link to my website, tomlahue.com, where you can book coaching appointments. If you want to know more about your personality type and what it means to be healthy and balanced, you want to have a great marriage, whatever I can do to help, I'm here, okay? Just go to the website. I also have information about the classes I offer, the certificates in Enneagram coaching and spirituality and Christian life and relationships, and always growing with more and new exciting ways to learn more about the Enneagram, learn more about ourselves. Thanks to my patrons. I really appreciate your support as well. And what else do I need to say? Probably nothing. Okay, so let's jump into this talking about type 1. And we're pulling from Beatrice Chestnut's book, The Enneagram Guide to Waking Up. And one of the things she says that's characteristic of type 1s, well, for example, they tend to criticize themselves, and they tend to require perfection, and they tend to try to follow the rules and enforce the rules. And we've already talked about those. Those are other videos. And today we're going to talk about the tendency to sacrifice pleasure, and how it might be helpful for ones to think you got a 7 over there at the other end that you're connected to. And maybe it might be a good thing for you every once in a while to ask yourself, what would a 7 do? I know it probably seems counterintuitive if you're a 1 to think that, but just ask yourself that question, what would it take for me to be happy right now? Would it make my life better if I moved toward happiness and joy and positivity and all these wonderful things? All right, so let's look and see what she says and see if we can unpack it a little bit, understand more about ourselves and the mess we get ourselves into, and how to okay, let's see. Put my nerd glasses on. And let's see what we can find here. Sacrificing pleasure. You probably work too hard. Okay, well, we could just stop there, couldn't we? Is that true of you? Probably is. Sometimes, though, it seems like ones, like the rest of us, but it seems like ones might get stuck in a bit of anxiety, or maybe sometimes, what's the word I'm looking for? They could be stuck because if you can't get it done exactly right, they might be procrastination. That's it. If you can't get it done exactly right, or you don't have everything you need to do it perfectly, then maybe you could procrastinate. But let's just go with that word work for a while. Is work important to you? Probably is. And it should be. Work is a good thing. I mean, we were created to work in a garden. And work doesn't isn't something that we should run away from. It's something that we should do. It's something that we should enjoy. It's something that gives us some meaning and some purpose in our lives. But there needs to be balance, right? That we're not working so hard that we're neglecting other things in life that are important. We don't want to, just work all the time. When you were a child, when you were sitting in school and you were dreaming about being an adult, you probably had these, dreamy visions of being something fantastic, like a race car driver or a firefighter or a police officer or mail person, letter carrier, whatever the right word is now. You probably had some kind of dreamy, fantastic idea. Is that what you're doing now? Is that what it means to work for you, or is it more frustrating and more irritating and more loathsome and more tiresome? Because work can become that. It certainly can. A little bit of work mixed with a little bit of fun is a good balance in life. What was it from the movie The Shining? All work and no play makes Jack a dull boy. All work and no play. So we want to balance this. It's good to focus on work. When we're at work, let's give it 100%. Let's do all we can do to give it our best, and we appreciate that with ones. You guys bring that to the table. You remind us of the necessity of being disciplined and ordered and structured, and all of those things are wonderful, wonderful gifts that you bring to us. It's just, are you balanced? Do you feel guilty if you take time off? Do you feel guilty if you take a vacation? Do you feel guilty if you just spend a day doing goofy things or just playing or just relaxing? Do you have to make yourself take a break? There's an old saying, if you don't take a break, you might end up broken. And that could really be true. If you don't make yourself take a break, if you don't make it okay for yourself to take a break, like give yourself permission to take a break, to relax, to have fun. I know the people in your life would appreciate it. You want to be good, right? You want to be disciplined and you want to do the right thing. You want to be responsible. But I bet you the people in your life would agree with me. Oh, please make them take a break. Make them relax. They're so much fun when they're more lighthearted, when they're more easygoing, when they're not so focused and structured on doing everything the way it's supposed to be done. There, I had to lock my lighting because I noticed it was changing. I still haven't got my lighting perfect. I'm working on it. Okay, where are we at here? You probably work too hard and find it difficult to take time to relax. Again, do you feel guilty when you take time to relax? I mean, you probably feel guilty anyway, right? Because if you're a 1, it's kind of like your address. I don't mean that like to make fun of you. I just mean realize that that's part of being a 1 is just that constant. If I work too much, I feel guilty I should be at home. If you're at home, you feel guilty you should be at work. Okay. And remember, it's just a feeling. You feel guilty. Are you guilty? Maybe not. So if you recognize that I'm not necessarily guilty of doing something wrong, I just have this feeling, this sense of guilt. That's not the same thing as actually being guilty. You're probably much more likely to be guilty of not taking enough time to relax, like not being balanced in that direction. So do you feel guilty when you take time to relax? Do you feel guilty when you take time to do things that aren't necessarily the most productive? Productive, if it boosts your energy and if it brings back some joy in your life, if it's fishing or golf or antiquing or jet skis or whatever comes to your mind, if it helps you feel more relaxed and more lighthearted and more easygoing and helps you connect with other people in your life through these activities, that's very productive. That's a very productive use of your time. It's hard to quantify that. Okay, what else does she say? Does work always have to come before play? Does work always have to come before play? Would you feel guilty if you put your work aside? Let's say you had to cut the grass. The grass, it's Saturday. The grass needs to be mowed. The pool needs to be cleaned. But what if a bunch of family comes to visit Saturday morning? Is it okay to visit with the family and enjoy them and just take it easy and get to the grass later, like in the evening or the next day? Is that okay? And is it really good to neglect rest or relaxation or time with family to do these jobs that, of course, they need to be done? But do they need to be done by you, and do they need to be done at this very moment? Okay, what else does she say? Observe yourself to see if it feels challenging to try to stop controlling everything. Now, I don't know how you do this. How do you get in control of not trying to control everything? In other words, okay, then how do you not be judgmental with yourself for being too judgmental? As soon as you start to observe this in your life, your tendency would be become very judgmental of yourself for how what I'm saying is you're going to criticize yourself for being critical. You're going to be judgmental on yourself for being too judgmental. Are you going to try to control the fact that you try to control everything? I think what I envision in my hand is like what I envision in my head is like your hands opening up. It's like relaxing. Like recognizing that everything is not really under my control anyway. There's a lot of things I can control, and the things I can control, I should control. But there's so much of life that's not really in my control. And observing that doesn't mean I'm being lazy. It doesn't mean I'm being, shirking my responsibilities. It just means sometimes I'm accepting life as it is. And recognizing that there are things that I can control, but there's a lot of things that are outside of my control. And those things that are outside of my control, it's wrong for me to try to control them. It's right for me to accept the fact that I can't control everything. You know, you've probably heard it said that control is an illusion. We like to believe we're in control, but there's much of life that we're not in control of. I can't control if my child is going to be born a girl or a boy. I can't control that. I can control if they have red hair or black hair or no hair. I can't control my own hair. I can't control my own hair. I can't control the gray hair in my beard. I can't control, I mean, I could dye it, like lose weight, but I could dye the hair on my face, but everybody knows when you see that. That's not right. Something's wrong there. There's so much we can't control in life, and pretending like we can control it is probably just going to give us high blood pressure, or the people around us high blood pressure, and we're not really connected to reality. You know, one of the first things we ought to seek to do in life is to define reality. And reality is not everything is under my control. And being okay with that and recognizing that. Now, what's cool about this is that doesn't mean it's not being controlled by someone. Thank you, Lord. Doesn't mean it's not being controlled by someone. Just means it's not always up to me to control everything. So do you find yourself like a tendency to control things? I wonder when we're going to get to the sacrificing pleasure. Let's get to that. All right. So stop controlling everything and just flow with the rhythm of life. Doesn't that sound good? Flow with the rhythm of life. You're like, yes, I want to do that. Yes, how do I do that? Well, look up there at 9, your wing. They flow with the rhythm of life. Look across that line 7, you know. 7s I know are very assertive and they're going to go after what they want in life, but they tend to do this a little bit easier, have a little bit easier time of this than maybe 1s do. So you're connected to this. Flow with the rhythm of life. Move with life. I wonder how many times it could be said that you're moving against life. Like you're trying to organize and straighten up and correct whatever's going on in life. And again, many times that's appreciated. Many times that's it's just knowing the difference. Like this is not one of those times. And if I try to organize and correct and fix and repair right now, I'm going to be fighting with life. I'm probably going to end up miserable and make everybody around me miserable. This is one of those times where I just need to take a deep breath and realize I'm a 1. I'm a 1. And I'm struggling with 1 things. I'm struggling with being okay with life as it is. I know you're an idealist. And you want to make it better, and that's great. But sometimes better is just being okay with it as it is. Okay. I know. It's so hard. You have likely forgotten or ignored the early experiences that made you feel as if you had to suppress your desires. Notice if you tend to conform to the unquestioned rules but don't fully realize how stressful it feels. How stressful it feels to hold yourself to such high standards. We all appreciate the high standards. We do. I do. We all appreciate that desire to aspire to integrity. We all need that integrity and that voice of integrity so much more in our own lives. It's very stressful. It comes with a lot of stress, stress and tension. And that stress and tension is probably held in your body. It's good for you to exercise. It's good for you to get out there and let that stress and tension out. Maybe you need like boxing gloves and a punching bag so you can get that stress out. Maybe you need like regular appointments with a massage therapist, kind of rub that stress out of your shoulders, or acupuncture doctor or something, and just kind of like release, meditate, pray, some way to kind of go for a walk and try to relax and let all that stress out. Maybe just watching funny television shows. For me, like the Three Stooges or Laurel and Hardy. I found Laurel and Hardy is on YouTube now for free. Old, funny, ridiculous stuff. And just kind of let yourself laugh. Give yourself permission to laugh again. Give yourself permission, like that inner child. I know you have the inner parent, and that's cool, the inner parent. But is there an inner child in there too? Is there like an inner kid? Is there a 7-year-old in there? Do you remember what it felt like to be a 7-year-old? Can you bring that person back up a little bit and remember what that feels like to have all that dreamy excitement, where work is race car driving and, trekking through the jungles and saving the day like Superman? Can you come back to that moment in time and feel that childlike excitement again to life? Sure you can. Sure you can. All right, what's the last thing she says about sacrificing pleasure? She says you don't realize how stressful it is to have these high standards. If you got to get an A, you got to get an A. You remember those kids? Maybe you were that kid in school. They would go to the teacher and they were very upset because they got an A minus. I'm over in the back like, oh my goodness, I got a D plus. This is geometry, folks. Geometry, be glad you passed it. Okay, the last thing she says here is you hesitate to pursue pleasure or allow yourself time for leisure or just to enjoy yourself. You hesitate to pursue pleasure. Does it make you feel guilty? Does it make you feel guilty to just spend some money or to spend some time doing the things you enjoy to do? Does it make you feel like you're not being responsible, like it's not the best use of your time or the best use of your energy? You hesitate to pursue pleasure. Realize that there's a whole nother type that you're connected to, type 7, on the other side, that's a legitimate personality that really just wants to be happy in life. It's worth a question, like, are you happy in life? If you're happy, tell your face. If your face is happy, tell your body you're happy. Tell your family you're happy. Show them you're happy. Live in that state of joy, in that state of contentment with life. I know it's not easy, and I struggle with it too. Even as a 7, sometimes I struggle with it. So I know you do, and I have all the compassion in the world for you. But just let me read that again. My doorbell. You can hear it. Ring, ring, ring. You hesitate to pursue pleasure. You hesitate to pursue pleasure and to allow leisure time to just enjoy yourself. Is it time to put something on the calendar? You'll feel so much better when you have something to look forward to. Is there something to look forward to? Do you have some special weekend coming up where you you can relax? You're going to give yourself permission to just watch a ball game and eat a hot dog and to go to a concert or to go to a comedy club or just go out to movies and to dinner and with some friends. I'd love to see you as a 1 in that 7 place again. You're not being bad. It's not bad for you to do that. It's great. It's wonderful. It's exciting. I'd love to see you lean into that 9 and be more okay with things as they are and not necessarily feeling like you have to show up early and stay late, but move with the rhythms of life. And I'd love to see you lean in that too and be more connected to others and more intentional in your relationships, more kind. And then I'd love to see you, that line to 4. What's meaningful to you? What matters to you? What's important to you? Not what's right, not what's good, not what ought to be done, but that line to 4 of like, who are you? Do you know yourself? Do you know what you love? Do you know what you care about? Do you know what you're excited about? Do you know what you're passionate about? And that line to 7, that wonderful line to 7 where Jiminy Cricket turns into Peter Pan. I know you got the Jiminy Cricket voice down, but can you give yourself permission to just be Peter Pan for a day or for a moment or for an evening or for a date? You'll find that it's refreshing to you and it's refreshing to the people that love you. All right, guys, fantastic. 1s, we're for you. We're rooting for you. And as always, be present to life. I'll see you next time, guys.